Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Fun with Maps. I'm your host Dan Hanson. Today's episode is about a country. If I asked you to name the 10 most populous countries in the world, I bet you would not think of this country. You wouldn't guess this one. This episode of Fun with Maps is about Bangladesh, the 8th most populous country in the world. Can you believe that? It's 8th most populous. I have to admit my knowledge of Bangladesh was pretty much limited. But I met some cool people in Cleveland here, the Bangladesh community, Tariq and his friends, and they put on a great presentation at Cleveland City Hall. I learned a lot about the language, the country, the culture, and before that, my main exposure to Bangladesh was, well, this. You may remember that George Harrison and friends put on a concert and made a movie, and this is a 3-record set in 1971. To help the people of Bangladesh who were suffering all kinds of things there. There's George Harrison and Eric Clapton and Ringo Starr and Bob Dylan and others. It was really something. So, when we look at this, the George, of course, was a Beatle, and it's a pretty cool guide here. So you got, see the map. We'll look at a lot better of the map there, but tells about Bangladesh. And Ravi Shankar, okay, he wanted to raise some international awareness and fund relief for refugees. Back then it was called East Pakistan, before 1971, and we'll get into that. In 1971, East Pakistan became the independent state of Bangladesh, which means the country of Bengal. Okay. In the Bengali language, country of Bengal, Bangladesh was 2 words. So if you see here, like on the cover, it says Bangladesh, 2 words. The term Bangla is the name for both the Bengali region and the Bengali language, and we'll see that in a minute. And the suffix desh is derived from a Sanskrit word desha, which means land or country. So the name Bangladesh means land of Bengal or country of Bengal. And let's take a look at this a second. So this concert was the first ever of such a magnitude. It expired later events like Live Aid and Farm Aid and We Are the World and all that stuff. And it was really my first exposure to Indian music. So Ravi Shankar was really, he was very famous, at least in India. And Ali Akbar Khan played this. Ravi played the sitar, and Ali Akbar Khan played sarod, another Indian stringed instrument. And then they were joined by a drummer, a tabla drummer. Tabla is like twin drums, and a tambura, a long neck stringed instrument, and they played an opening set of the concert for, before the more famous rock stars came out in Madison Square Garden. So I remember listening to the album in a couple of minutes and into some strange sounds from instruments I just wasn't used to, like the sitar and all. I really wasn't impressed. But the audience gave some polite response. And I remember on the album and in the movie, Ravi Shankar says something like, "Thank you. If you enjoyed the tuning so much, we hope you enjoy the performance even more." So obviously I wasn't the only one who was not familiar with Indian music. So, then they had, after the Indian, the music, they showed some of the suffering in Bangladesh. And the concert did bring recognition and monetary aid to the devastation. So you had this political and military problem in what was East Pakistan, leading to a massive refugee problem. But there had also been this huge cyclone that had ripped through and done all kinds of damage there. And the Bengalis, in March that year, there were some torrential floods and rains, and there's just a humanitarian disaster. So George Harrison here wrote this song Bangladesh. He wrote it 2 words, Bangla and Desh, and it was with co-producer Phil Spector. Actually, it was the first ever pop charity single, so it kind of set the tone for, We Are the World and Do They Know It's Christmas and all that stuff. So in the song's opening verse documents Ravi Shankar's plea to Harrison. Let me read that to you here. It says, my friend came to me with sadness in his eyes, told me that he wanted help before his country dies. Although I couldn't feel the pain, I knew I had to try. Now I'm asking all of you to help us save some lives. So before I start singing, and you have to cover your ears, let's take a look at the map of Bangladesh in this episode of Fun with Maps. So here's a map of Asia. Now let's look at it real quick. Russia up here, huge. Mongolia, China. Here's Southeast Asia. Here's all the Stan countries. Pakistan, Afghanistan, so on. Iran. Here's India. Burma, Thailand, all that. Can't really see it really well here. Here's Bhutan. Here's Nepal. Here's Bangladesh in here, okay? This is the Bay of Bengal. Here's Bangladesh. Now, with a population of around 169 million people, the area is only about 57,000 square miles. So the People's Republic of Bangladesh, that's its full name, it's among the most densely populated countries in the world. And as I said, 8th most populous. Wow. It's pretty small compared to its neighbors, India, China, Russia, even Iran, and some of those. So here are the top 10. When you say it's number 8, you better list the others. From 2023 UN estimates, China and India are pretty close. Right now they say China is a little more populous than India, the United States, Indonesia, Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Russia, and Mexico. So here's a locator map. You can see this maroon area here. This is Bangladesh, okay? India, Bhutan, Nepal, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Sri Lanka, all that. So, but if you take the Asian subcontinent that includes India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, this right here, okay, they have almost 2 billion people, almost a quarter of the world's total population, just this little region here. So this map, Britain held this area, the Indian subcontinent, and they granted independence to the region in 1947, 1948, and that resulted in 4 new independent states. So you had India, Burma, Ceylon, which we now know as Sri Lanka, and I guess we could say many call Burma Myanmar, and Pakistan, which included East Bengal, later East Pakistan, and even further later Bangladesh. We're not getting into Kashmir or Tibet or anything like that. So you see that Bangladesh here shares land borders with India to the west, to the north, right there in the state of Sikkim, and to the east. So it's surrounded by India on 3 sides, and then Burma or Myanmar over here on the southeast. And it's narrowly separated from Bhutan and Nepal by something called the Siliguri Corridor. This is a great map by someone called Ankur, A-N-K-U-R, so thank you for that. So the Siliguri Corridor is this strip of Indian territory within this red highlighted circle here, okay? It's also called the chicken's neck because it's thin like that, and it's just a narrow strip of land. It's like 15 miles wide, but it separates India from the northeast states. Again, we're not messing with Jammu or Kashmir, Tibet. That's all for India, China, Pakistan, those people to figure out. But let's take a look at this. This is a pretty cool map. So again, here's Bangladesh here. All this yellow is India. So it's up here and even through this chicken's neck here, and then over here on the far east, Bhutan, Nepal, Burma, Myanmar over here, Pakistan up here, here's the Himalayas, Afghanistan's here, and of course Ceylon and Sri Lanka are down here. So here's another map, and it's featuring India here again. Here's Bangladesh. That's what we're looking at today. And here's China up here with the Himalayas. The Indian state of Sikkim here in the north, and it's in the eastern Himalayas. It's the least populous and second smallest among all of the Indian states. So here's all of India. There's Mumbai and New Delhi, and here's Sri Lanka down here. Here's Chennai. But they've got this state of Sikkim here that's between Nepal and Bhutan and blocking China from India and Bangladesh. This is a great map. You can see here's the stand countries start, Pakistan, Afghanistan, up higher are the other stands. Here's Iran and the Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea. You can really see what's going on there. I like this map too. It's by someone called Norman Einstein, so thank you. So here's Bangladesh up here, and you can see that's the capital of Dhaka, which we'll talk to so soon. You'll see how close it is to Calcutta in India. I guess it's Kolkata now. China, Myanmar, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka. But the thing is, the south of Bangladesh is bordered by the Bay of Bengal, which is the northeast part of the Indian Ocean, and it's bordered here by India and over here by the Yanman Sea and Myanmar and a couple of the islands of India, and then it stops down here. Really it's Sumatra in Indonesia where it goes into the Indian Ocean. And here's a fun with maps fact. The Bay of Bengal is the largest water region that's called a bay in the world. So this is the largest bay in the world. And you can see that's Bangladesh on the south borders this. So in this map we'll see another fun with maps fact. Cox's Bazar down here, it's part of Bangladesh. It's on the Bay of Bengal here. It has the longest sea beach in the world. So if you're a beach lover, this is where you need to go. It's the longest sea beach in the world. The Bay of Bengal is about 1 million square miles, and it's got all these rivers flowing into it, which we'll see. The Ganges, the Padmas or Ganges, the Brahmaputra, Jamuna, a bunch of different rivers. You can see them all coming together here, and they come out, and then they come into this area here called the Sundarbans, okay? And here's like the mouth of the Ganges. They're all coming into the bay there. But let's take a closer look at the Sundarbans. Again, here's India, here's Bangladesh, and down at the south here, going into the Bay of Bengal, are these Sundarbans, okay? And the Sundarbans have the largest mangrove forest in the world, and they're also the natural habitat of the Bengal tiger. So we all love the Bengal tigers, and their natural habitat is here in the Sundarbans, which is mostly in Bangladesh here. It's a mangrove area. Here's a delta formed by all those rivers, the Ganges and the Manga and the Brahmaputra and the Bay of Bengal here. And they have a Sundarban Reserve Forest is the largest mangrove forest in the world. So do you remember from a previous episode of Fun with Maps, mangroves are salt tolerant trees, also called halophytes. So they're adapted to living in harsh coastal conditions. And you can see right on the bay here. So they can handle salt water. They have a salt filtration system, a complex root system, so they can handle waves and salt and all. They're very important to the environment. This is a NASA satellite image of the Sundarbans they took in 2000. And you've got the forest up here in a protected area, but look at all the from the Ganges and its tributaries and all this coming into the Bay of Bengal. That's an amazing map. So here's a CIA map of Bangladesh, okay? As we said, here's their capital, kind of central, called Dhaka. It's the capital, it's the largest city, it's the political, financial, cultural center. Second largest city is down here. And the map shows this Chattagram. That's another word for Chittagong, which is the busiest port on the Bay of Bengal. You can see it's called Chittagong Hills up here. Here it's the city of Chittagong, but that's same thing. So Dhaka is the 6th largest and 7th most densely populated city in the world. It's a mega city. I mean, Dhaka proper has a population of 10.2 million residents as of 2022. And if you look at Greater Dhaka, you know, the surrounding area, there's over 22.4 million residents in Greater Dhaka. So it's huge. You know, it's in the Ganges Delta here. It's the largest Bengali speaking city in the world, and we'll see why Bengali is important soon. And after the partition in 47, Dhaka became like the 2nd capital of Pakistan. Okay, you know, this is fun with maps, so we focus on the maps. I can't get into the fascinating history of Bangladesh, you know, the Mughal Empire and the partition and the wars and all kinds of things, but I can say that Dhaka historically has played a key role in the industrialization of Bengal. And this is where muslin, you know, muslin, that cotton fabric of plain weave, very popular around the world. And this was the center for muslin trade. And in fact, it became a word, you know, in some of the other countries, they didn't call it muslin. They ended up calling it Dhaka because so much of it came here from Dhaka. But let's get back to the map. Okay, so here you see, starting up here in India, the Ganges River. And we've all heard of the Ganges, right? But here in Bangladesh, it becomes called Padma, P-A-D-M-A, the Padma River. Okay, Ganges, Padma, right here. It's about 1,500 miles. It starts in the western Himalayas in the Indian state of Uttarakhand, and it flows south and east. And then it's joined by, you know, you can see it joined by other rivers, and it goes into this major estuary of the Ganges Delta and empties here into the Bay of Bengal. And you know, we know that for Hindus, the Ganges is the most sacred river. It's worshipped as the goddess Ganga in Hinduism, but Bangladesh is over 90% Muslim. So from what I understand, they respect the river, but don't consider it sacred like Hindus or Jains might. Fun with maps fact. Speaking of religion, my friend Tariq says Bangladesh is one of only a few nations in the world that offer holidays for all the major religions. Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Buddhist. You know, even though it's 90+% Muslim, they have holidays for all of those. So this delta here, caused by the Ganges and the Brahmaputra River, it's the world's largest delta. It's about 25,000 square miles, stretches about 250 miles along the Bay of Bengal. Only the Amazon and Congo rivers have a greater average discharge than the Ganges. So this is a good map. It's a satellite map of the Ganges. Here we are, India, Bangladesh. Here's the Brahmaputra River. Here's the Ganges. They all come down, and you can see they have this big delta down here, and that's going into the Bay of Bengal. That's a pretty good map. This is another map. It's by someone named Copernicus Sentinel 2020, and you know, we saw the Sundarbans down here. Here's the Himalayas up here. You can see the white snow-capped stuff, the Himalayas. Here we have the Ganges and how they meet. Ganges. Here's the Sundarbans here, the Bay of Bengal, and Sundarban actually translates in Bengali to beautiful forest. And we know that, you know, we just saw they're the largest mangrove forest. They provide a critical habitat for a lot of species, including, of course, like you said, the Bengal tiger and the Indian python. So that's pretty cool. And the history and politics of Bangladesh are beyond the scope of Fun with Maps. But I will say that ancient Bengal was an important cultural center in the whole Indian subcontinent. The history of the Mughals and all, it's very interesting stuff. You should check it out. But let's digress real quickly to Pakistan, because of course it's connected. So the Dominion of Pakistan was created by the passing of the Indian Independence Act of 1947 by the British Parliament. That also created an independent dominion of India. So, okay, Pakistan, India. So, until 1947, it's had all been ruled by the United Kingdom as part of the British Empire. You know that. And of course, in the beginning here, Pakistan had this area here, and then this area here, which is modern day Bangladesh. Okay, so East Bengal, East Pakistan here, with Dhaka as its capital, was the most populous province of Pakistan in 1947. And then, you know, time passed and a lot of things happened you can read about. So the Constitution of Pakistan of 1956 came into effect, and they abolished the monarchy in Pakistan, and they created the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So that was in 56. The Constitution split West Pakistan and East Pakistan into two separate entities before they had been governed as a single entity, even though they were separate enclaves geographically. And then, of course, the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971, East Pakistan succeeded, they became Bangladesh, West Pakistan became just Pakistan. So there were wars and really some atrocities, natural disasters, all kinds of problems, including, you know, this cyclone that devastated the coast of East Pakistan in 1970, the Bola cyclone. And here you can see it tracks from here, from Bay of Bengal into what was then East Pakistan in 1970, and about 500,000 people died in that, and that was part of what led to the George Harrison concert. And speaking of George, here's a fun with maps fact. There's a sculpture of George Harrison near Dhaka University in Dhaka. So here's a picture of that. This is George Harrison, date of birth, death, and sculpture of George. That's pretty cool. And this is a promo for the concert for Bangladesh, and you can see it says we've got to relieve Bangladesh. 2 words, Bangladesh, George Harrison. Down here it says contributions for the benefit of the homeless children of Bangladesh, in parentheses East Pakistan, can be sent to the George Harrison Ravi Shankar Special Emergency Relief Fund, care of UNICEF, United Nations, New York City. So this is what they're doing. Is still East Pakistan, Bangladesh spelled Bangla and then Desh. So this is a map by Beck H.E. Zimmerman. Thank you. And you know, it's a climate classification map for Bangladesh for the last 30 years or so, 40 years. My friend Tariq told me that Bangladesh has been referred to as the land of 6 seasons. So while we have 4 here, they have 6 seasons in Bangladesh: summer, monsoon, autumn, late autumn, winter, and spring. And he says each season has unique qualities, and the Bengali calendar designates a celebration for each one. So we have the 4 seasons here, they have 6 seasons there. So here's the flag of Bangladesh. And you know, we, like I say, we can't cover the long history of the region, but I do want to mention something that's both important and unique. Bangladesh is the only nation to fight a war and declare independence over language. Here's how it happened. So, okay, we got the partition of India in 1947, and Bengali-speaking people in East Bengal made up 44 million of the newly formed Pakistan's 69 million people. So in 1947, at an education summit in Karachi in West Pakistan, they advocated that the Urdu language be the sole state language and be used exclusively in the media and schools. So obviously the 44 million in East Pakistan didn't like that, and you know, protested and all that. But the Pakistan Public Service Commission removed Bengali from the list of approved subjects. They took it off the currency notes and the stamps, and there was, you know, all kinds of problems and protests. So Bengali students started to meet, and They were protesting, especially around the University of Dhaka, and they had a language movement, and it prompted the people of East Bengal, which later East Pakistan, later Bangladesh, to establish a separate national identity distinct from the rest of Pakistan, which then was West Pakistan, and then became Pakistan again. Okay, makes sense? So at 9 o'clock in the morning on February 21st, 1952, students began gathering at the University of Dhaka in defiance of a local law. So there's protests and tear gas, and you know how these things happen on campus and police and all. But it escalated. A group of students tried to storm into one of the building, and the police opened fire and killed a number of the students. And as the news of the killing spread, you know, throughout the city and the country, disorder erupted. Shops, offices, transportation, all were shut down. They had a general strike. It really took till 1954 for the Constituent Assembly to grant official status to Bengali as a language. It was recognized as the second official language of Pakistan on February 29, 1956. So you had Urdu and Bengali as the official languages. The students who were killed became martyrs, and February 21st was declared International Mother Language Day. It's now a worldwide annual observance on February 21st to promote awareness of linguistic and cultural diversity and to promote multilingualism. So the United Nations General Assembly formally recognized it in 2002, and as part of a broader initiative to, quote, promote the preservation and protection of all languages used by peoples of the world, unquote. So on this day, on February 21st, people visit Shahid Minar here in Dhaka to pay homage to the movement's martyrs and to promote Bengali as the state language of Bangladesh. So here's the monument there. And just as a fun with maps fact, Bengali is the sixth most spoken language in the world. So it's not like it's, you know, some obscure language. Sixth most spoken language in the world. So since independence, Bangladesh has become the second largest economy in South Asia. It maintains the third largest military in the region. It's a major contributor to UN peacekeeping operations. Because of its large Muslim population, Bangladesh is the third largest Muslim majority country. Bengalis make up about 99% of the total population of Bangladesh, and they've taken in, it hosts one of the largest refugee populations in the world due to the Rohingya genocide next door to them in Myanmar. Pretty interesting, huh? So Bengali is the sixth most spoken language in the world. That's impressive. Here are the top 10, 1 to 10. Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, English, Hindi, Portuguese, Bengali, Russian, Japanese, and what they call Chinese. So I'm really glad that I met Tariq and other members here in Cleveland from the Cleveland Bangla community and learned so much about Bangladesh. It's a fascinating country, and it'd be nice to visit someday. I wish I could get that George Harrison song out of my head, though. If you see on the back of the liner notes here, and it's a nice book that comes with the 3-record set and fantastic music. I mean, Dylan and Clapton and Ringo Starr and Billy Preston, of course George Harrison and all. But anyway, it shows a check for $243,000 going to the United Nations Children Fund for relief to refugee children of Bangladesh. So, you know, these things always, it's tough to get the money directly to the needy, but I think they did pretty good with this concert and movie and record set. So if you like this episode of Fun with Maps, as always, please click like and consider subscribing so you never miss an episode. So until next time, I'm your host Dan Hanson, and keep on having fun with maps.